Good morning. Happy Monday. Happy Memorial Day. Good morning. Good morning. Maybe. Mm. We are just getting started here as I try to find the record button. Hope you all had a lovely weekend. It is Memorial Day here in the United States. All right, we are recording. All right. Good morning. Welcome to Rise and Shine with Morning Moon. My name is Coach Lacey, and it is Memorial Day weekend. And for a lot of you, that means lake days, barbecues, beach trips, that whole long, beautiful sunshine weekend vibe. I hope you are enjoying that long weekend. But for some of us, Memorial Day means something a little bit different. Hits a little different, and I'm here to remind you today that Memorial Day is in memory of those we have loved and lost, who have fought for our freedom in this beautiful country we call home. And, when you think about that, and you really think about it, if you know someone or you love someone who's been in the military, who has served and who has lost, if you've lost someone or someone you know has lost someone or been a part of all that, you know that it hits a little different. Hits a little different this week than the rest of the world, the rest of the country who's just living it up like a vacation. It brings up memories, and it brings up things that you might not have been even planning to feel today. Um, it's a little heavier when you have a grief anniversary pop up. So today we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about those grief anniversaries and what it's like to have memorial and live in living memory of those we've loved and lost. And it may have been you've lost someone to war. It may have been you've lost someone to the war on their mind. It may have been you've lost someone tragically, non-tragically. All loss is difficult, and it brings things up, and it shakes us up, and it changes us fundamentally who we are. It changes the core root of our being when we lose people that we love, and even animals that we love. It even experiences and moments in time that we didn't think would be over suddenly. Loss, it it opens up new worlds and choices and decisions and maturities, and it brings you to the brink of yourself, and I've been sitting in that the last day or two and thinking about loss, not just because of today, of Memorial Day, but one of my dear friends lost her ex-husband, and her daughter is also my friend, and so she lost her father, um, and I knew him as well, and so I lost an old friend. I haven't seen him in a very long time. Um, Rest in peace, Doc. If any of you know who Doc is in the valley, you know that he was a cool dude, and I don't know the full story of what happened, but my gut says that addiction was involved, and man, oof, that kind of grief, it is just messy. It doesn't really have closure, right? And having lost my own sibling to suicide through substance, I can resonate with that pain, and it's a familiar ache that I understand. And I was driving around this morning. I was driving home from going on a hike, and it's very early, and I noticed the homeless. They have a area here in town on the bridge, and when I was going to the hills this morning, I noticed they had all huddled up, and they were all huddling up and I think they were breaking down their drugs or whatever. And on my way back, and had been like 2 hours, I'd come back. One of them had a big pull and was like dancing and being crazy. He was just totally high. And, I thought to myself about all those moments that God extended grace to me, because I used to be a meth addict, and I used to be addicted to drugs, and I used to be into the raving lifestyle and partying, and I used to do a lot of substance abuse, and I've lost many friends to substance abuse. And um that's a different kind of war, right? Like man, it's just it doesn't come with a lot of closure when people die from addiction. And I thank God every day that I was delivered from that, and I found myself praying for those people on the bridge that were um seemingly out of their minds, and it's just so prevalent these days, and it makes me very sad to think about my peers and um generations below me, because we really are suffering through a lot of drug addiction, more than I think people understand or realize or even have ever experienced throughout time. And it's heartbreaking, and contemplating today, Memorial Day, and contemplating those that we've loved and lost at war through, seemingly endless wars like Afghanistan, um, all this pointless death, all this death, and how do we move past some of this grief, and how do we also honor those that we've lost? And especially like today, Memorial Day, people are out living their best lives, and we should as Americans, we should be out living our best lives in honor of those who lost their lives serving so that we could have these freedoms, right? We should go enjoy our freedom. My husband served in Afghanistan. He saw that fight firsthand, and he lost people, and right next to him, and he doesn't talk about it very often. But I see it, I see that loss, and I see it in a way. Certain days are heavier than others, and you don't really talk about it, but he lost people over there, you know, real people that, it's not just a movie. It's not just a movie that you watch, it's real, and even though he came home, he left a part of himself over there, and some part of him is buried over there in the dust with his military brothers, and um so those of you who are feeling that today, um just know that, don't lean into the guilt, because I've lost people too, and my brother and other people, and people have shaped me and loved me and helped me become who I am, and moments I have that are filled with regret. And some days it just hits me out of nowhere, just straight up out of nowhere, the grief. And like moments even talking about it's hard, and it's been a while now, and I'll be doing something totally normal, and boom, it just shows up like, hi, remember me? And if that's you right now, and that's you today, and you're feeling it, it's okay. Just feel it, lean into that. You're not weak for feeling that. A lot of the guys and the folks that the military, they try to keep it all in, and a lot of people are struggling with addiction and drinking and their memories and living with ghosts. And we need to process it. We need to talk about it. And it doesn't work to just pretend and stuff it down and fake it and power through for for the sake of feeling, like you're for the sake of anything, just for the sake of making others feel, you know, okay, or powering through because you have to work, or powering through, we need to process the grief. We don't need to make ourselves um push stuff it down so other people aren't uncomfortable. We actually really need to process it. And so if you feel like you need to cry, cry. If today you are struggling and you need to write the person you've lost a letter about everything you feel, I would encourage you to do so. Years could go by and you haven't processed these things. it needs to be processed, and it needs to be talked, and it needs to be shared. And it's good to share those memories with people. Go talk to the people that love the ones you've lost. you know Stuffing it down will eat you alive. It will just eat you alive. And it's okay to grieve. And if you've lost somebody that you love today, and you don't know how to cope with that, just know it's going to be okay. You just have to breathe, and you have to grieve. And it's good to journal things out. It's good to listen to good music. It's good to, music can shape you. Have that moment, cry, let it out, but then change the station, change that tune, and do something happy. Because the people that we've loved and lost, and the people that lost their lives in war, they wouldn't want us to be sad. They wouldn't want us to be wallowing in the loss of them, because, chances are they're in a better place. Chances are chances are they're where they're supposed to be. And unless, and if that's the case, then pray for them and pray for their eternal soul, and that might help you feel better. But we can't just let it eat us alive. And we don't have to stuff it down and clean it up and act like it didn't happen and act like it's okay. And you don't have to like explain yourself, you know and sometimes it's hard when you just lost somebody. Like, I remember after I just lost my brother, everybody kept saying, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, I'm sorry for your loss." And after a while, those words, "I'm sorry for your loss," became abrasive. They became abrasive. I had been rubbed raw of, "I am sorry for your loss." So if you know someone that has lost somebody recently, maybe don't say, "I'm sorry for your loss," but maybe just say, "Hey, I love you and I'm here for you." And if you need to talk, or you just need to sit, like, sometimes, like, honestly, when I was first in it, I didn't want to talk about it. I talk about it now. Sometimes I don't really want to, but I do talk about it now. But in the beginning, I didn't want to talk about it because it's hard not to cry. And, well, who wants to be sitting, you know, with me while I'm crying? But I had friends who did, and those friends I will cherish. Um, and man, my husband has really been the best friend I could ever have, because he has sat with me through all of my crying. And I couldn't ask for a better spouse than that, to sit with me through all of my crying. So if your spouse or someone you love has lost someone and you don't know what to do for them, just sit with them. Bring them some ice cream, bring them something they love. Just sit with them and let them cry, because sometimes that's really what you need. Turn on some music, go for a walk. It's okay. Just cry. It's okay. And for those of you who've just lost someone, like, just brand new, you're going to cry for like weeks. It's going to be hard for weeks, but you will be okay. Girls, I'm speaking to you. If you're watching this, you will be okay. I know it feels really heavy, and I know that it's not fair, and I know that you miss them. It's been years since my brother killed himself, and I miss him every day. But I watch for the signs every day. So for me, my brother showed up in crows. I was never one that was like, "Oh, dead people show up." I loved the movie The Crow, of course, but that wasn't why I felt like my brother showed up genuinely in this bird. But um on the way to his funeral, we had these twin crows following us all the way, and from our town to the town my brother's funeral was in. And after that, I was always having these double crows, or like flocks of crows. Right now, there's crows outside my house and my lawn. Um, and I looked up the meaning of twin crows, of double crows, because my brother was a twin, and Odin had uh crows, twin crows, that he would send out in the morning to bring the news, and the good news and the bad news of the day. And so I I took that as a sign because my brother was really into mythology, and he was gothic, and he really was into all that stuff. So I knew that my brother was speaking to me after that. And so I would encourage you to just look for the signs, like, and in music, after my uncle died, I was riding up in the car with my cousin, and that, a song that we associated with him came on the radio, stuff like that. So look for the signs, because in those signs, you will find comfort in those signs. And that is really the most comfort that you will find, is that they're still there. I mean, that is the deepest comfort I have found, is in God and in those signs, and knowing that my brother is still there, and knowing that my grandma is still here, knowing that my uncle is still here. I have signs all the time. And so I look for them, you know. So look for the signs when you're in memory, in living memory, and then you do the things that those people loved, like, use the memories that you have as a living testament to those people. My grandma, my grandma was just a wildly talented woman, and had many she had many talents and interests, and she was just a really cool woman. And I try to take those things now, and infuse them into my life, and learn some of her history and some of her lineage, and just learn more about those people that are gone, and so that's how you can have a living testimony and a living memorandum, you know and it's okay to be sad. It's all right. It's gonna be messy, and it's gonna be shitty, and you're going to be upset, you know um but it's okay. It's okay. Like, it's okay to say I'm mad and I miss them. Like, I find times a lot that I'm mad at my brother, like, I get mad at him a lot, because it's like, why? And I don't know the answers to these questions, but instead of getting mad anymore, I've put into practice recently, because I used to really be like, "Rah." I put into practice praying for him, and praying for his soul, and praying for him wherever he is. Um, and that really has helped, because I get concerned about where he is, because he committed suicide, and I know he's okay, and I pray for him, I know he's okay. And so just pray for the people you love, and it's okay. And if someone's, pushing you, and like wants to talk about it, and you don't want to talk, and you're not ready to really go into it, just say that's okay. Just say, what, I don't really feel like talking right now, and that's okay. And if someone's trying to give you a pep talk, because like I remember people trying to give me like pep talks, I did not want to hear it. And just be honest, just say, what? I don't really want a pep talk right now. I don't really, just sit with me. It's okay to just sit with people, right? We can just sit with people. If you have somebody that's um grieving, just sit with people, and being honest with people. Like, you always have to be honest with people, and be honest with yourself. If you're not feeling it, just be honest. We don't serve anything by trying to be people pleasing. Like, we're not serving anybody, so just, we're in a time right now where a lot of people process grief differently, and you're gonna process grief differently. The people around you are gonna process grief differently. They're gonna respond to your grief differently, and just be kind. And just be kind. So don't, don't judge people for where they're at in their grief. Like, when families have members that die, there'll be like a lot of fighting that goes on, whether it's over stuff, or things that were said or not done, or things that need to be done. There's so much that can happen with families, when grief happens. And man, I both sides of my family, I've had both sides of my family have issues with when people die. And uh and we've had moments where just fractured family. And it's still, we still have issues. And what I will say is we just need to be kind to people, and people will say some nasty shit when they're grieving. I have seen the very worst of people when they're grieving, and I will say that your mouth can get away from you, but just forgive people because they know not what they do and they know not what they say, and just don't take anything personally. If you can learn to not take things personally and just love people past their bullshit, and because you know they're loving you past your bullshit, it'll be okay. You know, everything will be okay. Don't let people abuse you, but don't take things personally, you know. So, you know, you always want to make sure that you're telling the truth, and even if it hurts, you know, if someone's not doing what's right, make sure to, you know, kindly talk to them, you know. But if you're holding grief and loss and anger and numbness, whatever is feeling real for you today, honor that and honor those people that you lost. Feel that pain because, you know, it is what it is, and you don't have to apologize for it. We're all gonna die. People die, and it fucking sucks, and we miss them. But we can pray for them. We can look for the signs in the beyond, you know, and we can hold others who are hurting, because it's just the story of life, you know, and we're not alone. We are not alone in this. And just be willing to show up, and be conscious of how you show up in the world, you know, and be real and raw and honest and anchored, and anchor into your everyday controllables. When someone dies and things happen, that is when is the most important time to anchor in, because the only thing that you can control is your controllables. So after you're done grieving, after you're done processing, after you're done singing, dancing, writing a letter, crying, screaming, what the fuck ever, go move your body, because motion changes emotion, right? Anchor in, go move your body, right? Go move your body, drink some water, make sure that you're hydrated, eat some nourishing food, make sure that you're nourishing yourself, right? Get some sunshine, go hang out with some friends. You know, you've journaled, read a Bible, read your books, like get some good intake into your mind. Get some good input into your mind. What you cannot do when you are grieving is lay in your bed all day. If you find yourself laying in your bed all day for days on end, like maybe 2 days, okay, like fine. But if you hit past 2, 3 days and you are still not doing anything, smoking weed all day, doing dabs all day, hitting the pen, what the fuck ever, popping your whatevers, drinking whatever, whatever, knock it off, because it's just going to put you into a deeper hole, and you're going to have to work 10 times harder. Speaking from experience here, you're going to have to work 10 times harder to actually get out of that hole and feel better again. So do yourself a favor right now and put the pipe down, put the bong down, put the dabs down, put the drink down, whatever it is, put the vape pen down. Okay, get out of your bed, get off the video game, whatever, get off the phone and get out of your grief today. Because if you're letting grief become a depressive episode, and allowing that excuse to wreck the foundation that you that may have already built, or that you haven't built, and you're just digging deeper into the whole earth, you're going to be fucked later. And by that I mean you will not be able to have a solid ground which you could stand on. You will be sinking in quicksand, wondering where the hell your life went. And then you will be subject to the things that you've lost other people to, if you've lost people to addiction. I'm kind of speaking to my people who have addiction in the family today because of what I'm thinking about. It's important. It's important to know that you have to anchor in, and you have to control your controllables. It is the only thing that you have control over. Okay. So if you need help doing that, I'm always here for you. Please reach out. Even if you don't know me, I am here. Reach out, send me a message, We can talk about it. We can hop on a call. Let's just work it out here. I can give you an assignment. I have a really great program that I put people through who need to process their grief. It helped me so much. I developed a program that I put myself through. And sometimes it's a check-in that I need to redo too, because I still struggle with grief, but I've been able to grow through what I've had to go through because I have anchored in and developed a process to get back on the path when I fall off. Because I fall off sometimes, I fall off that, the wellness wagon. I fall off and I start digging a hole, and then I have to, get back out of it, and it's a lifelong process. But if you can anchor in now and prevent yourself from digging that hole in the first place, then you'll be a lot further along, and know that you're not too far gone. You are not alone. No matter how deep that fucking hole is, you are not too gone. You're not too deep. There is a ladder that you can crawl out of that thing out of, crawl out, get out of your grief. As long as you're willing to show up and be real about it, you will be okay. Your God works for all things with good. Remember this verse, Romans 8:28. God works for everything, all things for good. That is the Bible verse that got me out of my hole. Even in the wreckage, even in those parts of your story that feels like you are just stuck, you're never getting out. It may as well be cement that you are rooted in. You're not. You are allowed to move. You're allowed to climb out of there. So if it feels hard today, just know that the winds of change are coming. You are allowed to feel like shit right now. You're allowed to feel it. You're allowed to be honest. You're allowed to be healing. But it is your responsibility to anchor in, control your controllables, and get over yourself and get over that shit. Because the sad and shitty ass reality is that people die. Everybody dies. You're gonna die. I'm gonna die. The person you love the most is gonna die. Your dog is gonna die. Your cat is gonna die. Your mom is gonna die. Your dad is gonna die. Your brother's gonna die. Your sister's gonna die. Your aunt, your uncle, your sister, your best friend, your husband, your wife, your lover, they're gonna die. Everybody gonna die. So anchor in. Anchor in. Control your controllables, because we all gonna die. And just live as a testimony to everything you've learned from the people you love. Hold those parts and the things that you love most about them and make them a part of yourself. And live your life as a testimony to who they are and who they were and who you are. And, do better so that we can create a ripple effect that transcends generations, so that we can be a healthier, happier world, anchoring in, building our wellness foundations. So if you need help with that today, make sure to go to my group, Rise and Shine with Morning Moon on Facebook. Anchor in. You can always send me a message if you're struggling. I would love to help walk you through there. Just sit with you, because I know it, sister. I feel you. It can be a hard life out there. So I see you. I love you. I hope you're okay out there in the big, bad, wide world. And if you're grieving today, my heart is with you. I'm praying for you. Happy Memorial Day. Go get out in the sunshine, move your body, even if you feel like shit. Go let that sun hit your face. All right. I hope that you have a lovely day. I will see you all tomorrow. Mañana.